Welcome to the channel. We are back on World of Tanks Blitz. I have a tank review and an event review for you today. We are going to be reviewing the IS-2 Shielded, and we're going to be going over the event that you can get the IS-2 Shielded in. You're going to have to spend at least a little bit of money if you want this tank. This is the rapid handling event. The IS-2 Shielded is down at 20. Yeah, at 20. If you do not spend money, you don't get the tank. In my honest opinion, I would not spend $18 on this. The only way that this would even be remotely valuable for spending $11.99 for this mission pass is if you don't have the IS-2 Shielded and you don't have the T-54E2. That way, if you spend $12, you get all the other stuff that really doesn't matter. But the two tanks, if you get the T-54E2 and the IS-2 Shielded for $12, and you can get all the extra stuff, that might be worth it. So if you don't have neither one of those tanks, it might be worth it if these tanks fit your playstyle. Okay, let's look at the IS-2 Shielded. In my opinion, this is a great looking tank. The updated graphics look great on it. I'm not a huge fan of the legendary camo. It kind of looks like a boat, you know, with a bunch of different debris on it and stuff. I thought it would be really cool if it had some World War II stuff, you know, some old Soviet stuff on it. Thought that would be really cool, but I'm not the one making legendary camos. I'm a huge fan of the IS-2 tank in general. I have a book called IS-2 Development, Design, and Production of Stalin's Warhammer by Peter Samsonov. I have had this book for 2 years. I've read it 3 times. I'm a huge fan of the book, huge fan of the IS-2. Let's get into the stats. The IS-2 has a Tier 8 gun, a 122mm D25T gun. This was actually an artillery gun called the A-19 that was shortened to be put into a tank. And it weighs 46.37 tons. Aim time is 6 seconds, not very good. .323 dispersion is not bad. Damage per minute is 2,067, very nice for a 400 alpha gun down at tier 7. Reload time is 11.61. Average penetration is 170 on your standard, 212 on your premium, and 61 on your high explosive. That is nice high explosive penetration. Your average damage is 400 on your standard, 340 on your premium, and 500 on your high explosive. 340 on your premium is not very good. That is quite a drop, honestly. The gun elevation is 25 degrees up. The gun depression is 6 degrees down. So you can't play this tank hold down. You only have 6 degrees of gun depression. You really need to work with it. Honestly, this is not a hold down tank anyways. It's more of a side scraping tank. Let's look at the engine. This has a V-2IS-2. 693 horsepower, 15% chance of fire when engine is hit. Top speed forward is 32, top speed reverse is 12. Not the best reverse speed, but it has a decent power to weight ratio at 14.9. The average speed is 30 kilometers per hour, and the whole turn rate is 38.96. We are on Armor Inspector. We are looking at the IS-2 Shielded's armor. We are getting shot by an Annihilator. I am going to speed right through this Armor Inspector part, but there's a lot of Annihilators, a lot of Smashers down in Tier 7, so those are the two tanks we're going to be looking at. The Annihilator is shooting standard at us, and as you can see, we actually have a decent armor profile. You do have to watch out for that hatch, so if you can move, you know, left and right, or drive, you know, up on a hill, back down, you know, make it hard on them to penetrate you. But really decent armor. Enhanced armor is okay on this tank. This is a 50-50. I wouldn't recommend it, but I wouldn't, you know, recommend not to do it. It's decent. APCR on your Annihilator, he's still gonna have trouble penetrating you, and that enhanced armor helps out a little bit. That whole front plate turns red. But let's look at the Smasher. There is the Smasher. The Smasher with standard. The IS-2 Shielded is red. You're always going to be penetrating that lower plate. but you really want to try to side scrape and move and wiggle. You see how that, I mean, even if you're running enhanced armor, it really helps out. The Smasher is going to have a lot of trouble with his standard shell unless he's directly side on, but that's with any tank. Let's go ahead and check out his HE. One great thing about the IS-2 Shielded is the shielded part. This thing has metal grates on the front, 2 on the sides, 1 on the top, and 2 on the other side. And my armor inspector just crashed. I don't know why it's been crashing. But let's go back to the Smasher. HE. He cannot penetrate these grates. Only 5 millimeters of spaced armor, but this spaced armor is going to help you. You do need to watch out a little bit. If he's running calibrated, he can pin the rear of the tank, but honestly, it crashed again. We are comparing tanks on blitzstars.com. In the first column, we have the IS-2 Shielded. In the second column, we have the Lycan. In the third column, we have the E10. The IS-2 Shielded actually trades a little bit of penetration for damage per minute, and you are about to see the damage per minute on the IS-2 Shielded is 2,111, the best out of these 3 tanks. 1,900 on your Lycan, 1,912 on your E10. It does have 170 on its penetration. The Lycan has 5 more millimeters of pin, and the E10 is the same as the IS-2 Shielded. 780 on your shell velocity is not the best, but honestly it's not horrible and you might not even notice it. 800 on your Lycan, 920 on your E10. The aim time at 2.72 is not the best. The Lycan has 2.75 and the E10 has 2.54. Dispersion at 0.38 is actually way better than the Lycan at 0.417 and better than the E10 at 0.408. The gun depression, again, you only have 6 degrees of gun depression. You know, you can't use this on a ridge line, can't use it on a hill, but the Lycan has minus 10 degrees of gun depression. The E10 also only has 6 degrees of gun depression. The Shielded moving forward has 32 kilometers per hour. The Lycan is 35 kilometers per hour, and the E10 surprisingly is 32 kilometers per hour. In reverse, the Shielded is 12 kilometers an hour, 15 on your Lycan, and 13 on your E10. Also surprising about the E10. Power to weight ratio, 15.04 on your Shielded, 16.02 on your Lycan, and 11.56 on the E10. You are really going to feel that power to weight ratio on the E10, but on the Shielded it's actually very nice. You're going to get up to your speed very quickly. No mod traverse is 27 degrees on the Shielded, 29 on the Lycan, and only 17 on the E10. That is horrible. One thing that was surprising to me was that the view range on the Shielded is only 243, while the Lycan and the E10 have 253. The hit points on the Shielded is 1,450, but you can also bump that up a little bit if you have improved assembly. 1,400 on the Lycan, 1,600 on the E10, and honestly the armor numbers don't really show the full story. It's really on the effective armor and how everything is sloped or whatever, so I don't really look at those numbers. I mainly look at armor inspector. We are back on Blitz. We are on Desert Sands. This is a Tier 6, Tier 7 battle. We are going up against a Leo, a Saint Emil, a T23E3, T29, ARL44, Hellcat, and a KV1S. You can see that the power to weight ratio on this tank is very nice. We are already up to 30 kilometers an hour. We are going to go get in a spot and try to side scrape and get some shots out. There's another IS-2 right behind us. He's got a standard camo, so I'm not sure if he's going to be real effective. And he actually just bumped into us, so that's really not effective. We get a 324 low roll into the Saint Emil, but we damaged 2 modules. We're going to go ahead and back up and try to get another shot out. We get a 411 roll into the Saint Emil. He is already a one-shot. We just bounced 460, probably from the Saint Emil. And we're going to back up. Don't quite get the reload for the Hellcat, but the ARL 44 is going to pull up. We get a nice track shot for 402, but we are already down to about 500 hit points. So the T-29 is backing up, and as you can see, the penetration of the standard is not the best, but you always have premium, and if you aim it correctly, you can make it work. So the T-29 is really just, he's in a world of trouble right now. Don't really know where to shoot. Should we go for the turret? Should we go for the lower plate? Nice 439 roll. We are going to let everybody destroy the T-29. So the enemy has 2 medium tanks that absolutely did nothing for their team. They have a T-23E3. We just did a track shot, so now he's stuck in front of our whole team, even though they don't know how to shoot. Nice ammo rack by the IS-2 beside us. And now all they have left is a Leo Tier 7 medium tank. We are going to move in. We're going to try to at least get another shot out. Not sure if we're going to be able to make it. The IS-2 is obviously going to block us like he's been doing all game. Great teammate. We got a nice 389 roll. This is a decent game to showcase what you can do in the IS-2 shielded. It does have decent armor, but if you overextend, they're going to be able to hit that front plate, that front belt that wraps around right under the turret. 2,880 damage, 730 assisted, 0 kills, 5 damaged, 218,317 silver. That's a lot of silver. We did lead the team on damage and experience. 7 shots, 7 penetrations, 7 hits. Very nice. 2 shots on the email for 735. 1 shot on the T-23E3, which was that track shot for 415. 1 shot on the ARL, another track shot for 402. 1 shot on the Leo at the end of the game for 389. 2 shots on the T-29 for 939. Honestly, I've already told you guys I've read the book on IS-2. I really like the IS-2s. I play this, when I'm tired of tier 10 teams. 582 games with a 64.78 win rate. Couple of masteries, most damage is 4,340, so I've had some really good games. I'm a huge fan of this tank, even though it was given out for free. If you don't have it, you can get it in the event, but if you're going to spend money, you need to maximize what you're going to get. I would not spend the $18. If you spend the $12, make sure you get the IS-2 and the T-54E2. If you already have one or both of the tanks, I would not spend money on it. The IS-2 and the T-54E2 will come back into the store. So honestly, I like this tank a lot. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of it. I know opinions on tanks vary like crazy, but I'm Lard Lizard. I'm out of here. Peace.